Truth. How you define who you are, what you want to be, the impact you want to have on the world. And why is it so important? It's important to understand your truth because to live a fulfilled life, to maximize your full potential, to make the impact that only you can make with your singularly designed DNA, you need to know who you are so that the choices in your life's journey resonates with what's inside. So what is my truth? My personal story is filled with many life-defining moments. My life has been a journey of breaking barriers, challenging the status quo, succeeded by achieving excellence in many areas, both personally and professionally. I'm a Nigerian girl, born to parents foreign educated, who instilled in my two sisters and I a very strong sense of self and single-minded independence. And aside from running marathons, completing 3 half Ironmans, and finishing 1 full Ironman, and raising money for charities, I've also lived and worked across Nigeria, the UK, Northern Ireland, the US, Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai, China, Thailand, Hong Kong. And I have experience doing business in a few African countries. I finished a master's in mechanical engineering, the only girl in my class. And I fought through finding out that I was being paid 25% less than guys I worked with at some point in my career. And aside from being an executive in the oil and gas services industry today, I also launched a nonprofit to get more women into CEO and C-suite roles in the energy industry because there is a gap, and we need to fix that gap. And I'm also working on raising a scholarship for my alma mater. You see, from a very young age, I had a very strong sense of who I am and who I'm called to be. I knew I wanted to lead people and make lives better. I knew I wanted to lead businesses at an influential level so that I can contribute to economic advancement. I knew that I wanted to design and build and create technology so that I contribute to moving mankind further. I also wanted to mentor people and invest in ideas so that I can help other people achieve their full potential. I wanted to support women in maximizing their talents. I also had my own natural curiosity for people, for the world, for different cultures, for just the way things are done. And I'm aware that not everybody has this strong sense of self or this strong sense of calling, which is why we're having this talk today. So I ask you, what is your truth? How do you find it? And how do you live it? You see, I want to think of us today as being in 4 groups. First of all, those who have found their truth and are living it. Well, this message is to reinforce you. And those who have found their truth and feel that they're still searching for parts of it that are missing. Well, this message today is to help you with your search. And those of us who feel that we found the truth, but it changes with the seasons of life. Well, this message today is to help you understand that your truth is very different from your direction. And lastly, for the seekers, for those still trying to conjure up a definition of their truth, those who are asking questions that feel they should be doing something bigger, impacting the world in a greater way, but just don't know how to find the road to that journey or how to live that journey. Well, welcome. I hope this talk helps you find your way. So no matter what group you're identified with, at the end, this message is supposed to leave all of us with some tools to being able to describe our truth, to find it, and to live it. And the tools are the same for all of us. Whether you're about to graduate and you're wondering what to do with your career, or you need to make decisions about life and love and family and relationships, or you're in a career wondering, what should I do next? And those of you who are entrepreneurs and seeking that next step, or those who want to jump into entrepreneurship, and if you're just assessing life in general, and wondering what you should be doing with yourself, if you're truly living a life that is authentic to you, well, I can tell you that finding and living our truth is a universal constant to all of us. So how do you find your truth? I like to kind of describe it as our truth is found in collecting all of our life's little treasures and putting them together till one day a picture forms before us where we can grasp at a definitive description of who we are. Well, let me say that again. Our truth is found by collecting all of our life's little treasures and putting them together till we can come up with a definitive description of ourselves. And you see, this journey starts from childhood. It's all of your life's little treasures that are moments of your life experiences, the lessons that you take out of events, the things that have piqued your interest and your curiosity, the imprints of conviction that have been left on your heart from a young age, which is overlaid on your traits and your personal temperament. And sometimes our treasures are weaved out of the stories of our parents and generations before us. Let me give you an illustration of what I mean by that. I come from a line of grandmothers on both sides who were self-starters, risk-takers, and business owners who grew up in a time where education was favored for boys and not girls. And I often wondered what they could have become, what they could have achieved with their talents. And I can tell you that that little treasure for me imprinted on my young mind that I was going to cherish my education and support other people to do the same, that I was going to work hard to maximize my talents, but I will also help other women achieve their full potential. Now, here's another treasure I can share with you. When I was about 8 years old, at the end of the school day, I would go pick up my baby sister from her class. Now, one day I arrived and she was crying, and I asked her what happened. Apparently, her teacher had spanked her. Now, before you all get carried away, you could spank kids in Nigeria without having any problems. Now, what happened was, it was nap time, and apparently she was talking with a friend of hers because she wasn't sleepy. So I remember going home that evening and thinking, well, this isn't really fair. So I took a long piece of paper, and I wrote my sister's teacher a letter. And in this letter, I gave her my personal suggestion for how I thought she should run her nap times. If everybody doesn't want to sleep, then some kids should be allowed to play or read quietly. So the next morning, I took my sister back to her class, and I marched up. I said to the lady, good morning, and I gave her my letter. Now, needless to say, I became pretty popular for this letter. My mom was called to school. But the best part about it is the teacher actually came to adore me and my sister. But what I will tell you is that who I am and who I've become lays in the treasure of that story that I share with you of the 8-year-old girl who wrote a letter to her baby sister's teacher. And so in the end, how you define your truth truly comes from collecting your treasures. They're about your stories. They're the things that you like and don't like. They're about your opinions that you have formed through things that you've been through. They're oftentimes things that have inspired you in other people. Sometimes they're the challenges that have been created inside of you that made you resolve to do a certain thing. And at the same time, this can also come from a yearning of things you didn't have or experiences you didn't have or something you wish would have been done a different way. And usually this template is set from a very young age. Now, the definition of your truth matures with age. So for example, 8-year-old me would have said, I want to change the world. And 15-year-old me will say, well, I'm going to go change the world because when I become an engineer, I'm going to design things to make the world a better place. And here I stand today telling you, as a much-grown woman, that I want to change the world by helping more women attain senior positions in the industry. Now, if you notice, my truth hasn't changed. The core of who I am has remained the same. Now, my definition has matured over time, and the message has matured over time. So I invite all of you to spend some time collecting your treasures, trace your stories back, and be brave enough to affirm who you know you are. Now let's talk about how you live your truth. Living your truth is about remaining authentic to yourself. Living your truth is the navigational aspect of life. It's very different from the definition of your truth. And I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. How many times have we all said, I feel lost? I bet you if I did a show of hands, everyone's hand will go up. There you go. How many times have we all said in life, I just don't know what I'm doing anymore? I really can't figure this out. And I think part of the challenge there is that we need to get to a point where we can separate the definition of our truth, which is our goals and our dreams, and that doesn't change. It matures with time, yes. But the journey that we take through life, the paths that we have to take, now life presents us with challenges, so we adapt. Living our truth is really just about the decisions and the sacrifices that we have to make so that we can get through life, so we can conquer the different phases of our life. And sometimes that journey just doesn't look like what we thought. And for those of you who are in here who are lucky and your life has turned out exactly how you planned, can you meet me at the end, please? And share your secret with me. Because truly the rest of us are just trying to live our life and arrive at the definition of our goals and our dreams by taking different paths and being flexible with life. And what I can tell you is that while living your truth on these different paths actually lies the opportunity for you to keep searching, to keep seeking, and keep digging deeper, to continue to find more within yourself and define yourself. It's the same if you research any famous person or you pick one of your heroes and you think, oh, wow, this person has it figured out. They've accomplished so much. They've achieved so much. If you ever listen to any of their autobiographies or you read their books, they always start off by telling stories from their childhood. The reason why they decided to be a certain way or not be a certain way, what inspired them, what got their interest. And for me, that person is Oprah Winfrey. I could tell you that because every time she talks very clearly about her childhood, she shares her challenges, her opportunities in her childhood, but also growing up through life. She speaks very clearly about how she decided to become who she is today, when she found out she had a big voice and she wanted to share that with the world. But what I love most about her is that she uses that platform to help other people. But she always talks about living her truth and being authentic to herself. So to be effective at living your truth is very simple. For every step that you take, continue to assess, am I doing what resonates with me? Am I doing what resonates with my truth? What I feel comfortable with on the inside? And is what I'm doing, the way I'm living, is it going to help me get to my goals? Now, I know there are more questions. Okay, so you find your truth, you live it. But if you're like any of us, we all get a little bit confused once in a while. And the question is, how do we deal with that? What happens when we get scared? Or what do we do with that fear? Or what if life just doesn't give you the lucky lottery? What happens if you don't have the resources and the tools to live your truth? Or you live in a part of the world where your truth is challenged, or a part of your challenge is that your truth really is in conflict with other parts of yourself. Now, I could tell you that on my way to this talk, I'm actually going through a big life decision. I was thinking to myself, gosh, I really wish I was in the audience and someone was giving me this talk. But since I'm up here, I said, hey, how would I actually deal with these challenges? Well, my guidance to you is simply this. The first thing I've done at every point when I face the challenge that I've overcome, I assess. I think to myself, how can I balance and compromise? And then I seek advice. There is power in asking, guys. But when you ask, remember to enter into an offering of asking and giving. Because there are people who have come before us, who've lived this journey, who may have answers or things that we haven't considered. And then I act. And when I act, I do it with courage and without cynicism. I jump because I believe life will catch me. And you know, if it doesn't really work out or I find out that I was wrong, I am really willing to say, hey, I did it wrong. I'm not shy to change direction and try something else. But you also got to be willing to take risks. In trying something else, sometimes you got to seek new opportunities and just really push your boundaries. But most of all, personally, I could tell you that all those countries I named and all the things I shared with you that I've done, truly just came out of the fact that I genuinely trust life. And I have blind faith, but I believe that somehow the universe is aligned to help all of us achieve who we're called to be and to achieve our goals. And I think you should believe that too. Well, at the start, I promised to leave all of us with a set of tools for how to really figure this thing out. So here we go. Here are my 3 points. First, remember to collect your truths, put them together, and define yourself. Secondly, don't forget the power of asking for help, for support, for advice, and even listening. And lastly, be an angel, but be open to accepting the angels in your life. Because I can tell you that oftentimes, on this journey of asking and receiving help, is when we actually discover the answers that we're looking for. And lastly, what has come up is something that I wrote specially for today, which I truly feel encompasses everything that we've talked about. And it's something that I want to share with all of you. Remember to listen to the whispering voice inside that calls out to you to achieve greatness. Enjoy your journey through life. Have fun doing life. Be open to life without any cynicism in your heart. Accept new opportunities and experiences with an immeasurable innocence. Be naive enough to be creative and do what no one else will. Contribute to moving mankind further. Have the wisdom to remain prudent. Be courageous enough to remain humble, accepting, and forgiving. But most of all, have the audacity to be daring, to be authentic, and leave a positive impact on the world. Because only you can leave your mark on humanity. And therein lies your truth. Thank you very much.